Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 12, Chapter 16. The Garden of God. Man has to recognize his indebtedness to society and his duty towards it. This is the best way to solve the troubles of the day. Attention is paid only to arguments and counter-arguments, propositions and oppositions, plans and programs. The aim of the ego-centered is more to win a verbal victory than achieve a valid target. No attempt is made to foster the social virtues of honesty, tolerance, and cordiality. Society is the expression of divinity into manifold phases, with its love, its ardor, its eagerness to comfort and console. A chance conglomeration of humans does not become a society. It has to be welded into a unity by the consciousness of kinship of God, by the sharing of each other's joys and sorrows, and by the cultivation of samarasa, empathy. The individual has to manifest through word and deed the ananda, divine bliss, inherent in him and in society, turning the beads of a rosary between the fingers, or sitting contemplating the tip of the nose are only harmless ways of spending time. Active participation in society, in a spirit of dedication and surrender, conceiving all acts as acts of worship, all men as embodiments of the Supreme, is a more beneficial form of sadhana, spiritual discipline, for there is no spot where he is not, no object which is not he, for, as the Shruti, Holy Scripture, declares, he willed it that he became all this. Worship, adoration, and pilgrimage cannot be the end-all. The goal is the realization of I am He is I. That alone can fill the heart with bliss. Dharma fosters those who foster it. When you separate yourself as an individual, envy, resentment, jealousy, and pride start defiling you. Love alone can weld you into kinship with all. You are Shiva Shakti, the latent, patent, positive, negative, inert, alert principle. Be ever cognizant of this secret truth about yourself. Divakarla Venkatavadani recited verses welcoming me, in which he piled praise on praise. Of course, the style was sweet and the sentiment sincere. When once you transcend the human scale and reach out to the divine, the eagerness to adore will drop off. You can evoke the divine in you by adherence to dharma, righteousness. That is the message of the Mahabharata. Weighed down by sorrow, Arjuna one day laid all the blame on his eldest brother Dharmaraja. He said, "On account of you, our dear mother is separated from us. Our wife is disgraced in the open court. My only son is slaughtered by our wolfish cousins. Our dynasty is forced into exile, and our heritage is stolen before our very eyes." Dharmaraja replied, "When you blame me, remember you are blaming Dharma. No one can ever suffer through Dharma. Dharma fosters those who foster it. The pain which Dharma inflicts is a blessing. It is a shower of joy. Since we have stuck to Dharma, God will fight our battle and win victory for us. To attain God, love is enough. God is the embodiment of compassion. He watches for a grain of goodness or humility so that he can reward it with tons of grace. In a certain type of temple for Shiva, the priest had silver basin with a hole in its base for water to drip continuously. He filled it with water and hung it over the lingam, the idol of Shiva, so that the god who swallowed the poison which would have destroyed the universe could be cooled and comforted. Even at night, when the doors of the shrine were locked by the priest as he went home, the silver basin of water was in its position. So a thief broke into the sacred apartment. His eyes were on the silver. He could not reach the rope that kept the basin in position. So he climbed on the lingam itself in order to take the costly silver down. Even as he was standing on the holy idol, Shiva manifested himself in all his glory. He stood before him, saying, "Son, I appreciate your surrender. You have cast on me your entire burden." The thief prayed that Shiva may help him to secure the silver. There was no ladder or bench or any other article on which he could climb. So the lingam was his only refuge. Once a guru sent a pupil for further guidance to a mendicant in a Shiva temple. When he reached the temple, he found the fellow reclining in the central shrine with both his legs resting on the sacred lingam. The pupil was naturally enraged at the man's insolence. When he spoke angrily against the behavior, the man said, "Please lift my legs and place them where the lingam is not." When he did so, there was a lingam under the feet in the new position. Wherever he deposited the man's legs, a lingam rose to give them rest. That was the lesson learned. God is everywhere, only win the vision to see him so. To attain God, intense sadhana, spiritual practices, is not necessary. Love alone is enough. Avoid hatred, envy, and even dislike towards anyone. Let love manifest in action through seva, selfless service. When the beauty within a seed blossoms, it becomes a flower. Likewise, God is the divine essence that blooms as love in the heart of man. In the Gita, the Lord has announced, "I am the seed of all beings. Bijam mam sarva bhutanam." When the seed is immortal, the tree too is immortal. The flowers and the fruit are immortal. When he is rasa, juice, sweetness and love, all his manifestations are sweet and loving. When he is light, nothing can be dark. When he is Chaitanya, Chit, supreme awareness, nothing can be Jada, insentient, without awareness or intelligence or consciousness. The universe is a pleasant garden. You may pride yourself on being God-minded and Godward bound. You may pride yourself on being God-minded and Godward bound, but your pride proclaims that God is only on the circumference of your activity. You must be humble. You must not limit God to any particular name or form. How can you fix a label on God and compel him to conform to your specifications? Study the emblem of the Sathya Sai organization. It declares that all faiths feed the heart with Ananda. All faiths cleanse the mind of littleness. All faiths confer courage on the weak and the vacillating. The universe around you is a pleasant garden full of charming patches of many-hued flowers, filled with fragrance and nectarine elixir, each flower bed being a religion which attracts the loyalty of millions of seekers. The garden too is God. God dances in that garden at his own handiwork, gladdening the flowers with the magic melody of the flute. Be full of joy and love. Share that joy and love with all. If you utter God, God, and inflict pain on man, you will be spumed as a cheat. You need not cry out, God, God, but if you confer joy on brother man, God will respond with his presence, though uninvited. There are, however, many in positions of authority and influence who adore God and, at the same time, abhor or hate other men. They behave as if their God is a person of very limited intelligence, who can be deceived very easily, who will take their words at their face value and never look behind them for the motive or the intention. Believe that God resides in all beings. Speak such words as would spread goodness, truth, and beauty. Do such acts as would promote the happiness and prosperity of all. Pray that all worlds have peace. Expand yourselves. Do not contract into your own tiny individuality. Expand into universal love, unshaken equanimity, and ever active virtue. That is the path which will bring out the divinity in you to the fullest. Hyderabad, April 1973. Swami is always with you, in you, and around you. When all differences are eradicated and devotees in Sai organizations conduct themselves with selfless devotion, you will all realize that Swami and you are one. Sri Sathya Sai Baba.